Thank you very much. This is a nice crowd, isn't it, huh? You've been waiting a long time for this. So have I. Actually, it was so ridiculous. But here we are. And this doesn't have to be long. It's just all about common sense. Doesn't have to be long. In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. But before going further, I want to share some very exciting news from our military. After years of shrinking force numbers at levels that nobody has ever seen before, 4 years of this we went through, and missed recruiting targets every single month, it was just announced that in December, the U.S. Army had its single best recruitment in more than 15 years. Thanks. Every single day, nearly 350 new soldiers enlisted to defend our nation, and they're very, very happy to have done so. We've done lots of interviews, and we asked why this was taking place now, and they just said there's a spirit about our country that they haven't seen in many, many years, and I happen to agree with that. But it really is clear proof that the spirit is sweeping our armed forces, and we have a great leader in Pete. As you know, we all know Pete so well. He's going to be fantastic, and so many of our great heroes, and people are starting to understand what hero is all about. So that is something that is very important. We've gotten the woke lunacy out of our military. And now we're very importantly getting it out of women's sports. That's taking place very strongly. So in recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you? Huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. It would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories. That's a lot. And invaded more than 11,000.
On February 5th, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order prohibiting transgender athletes from participating in women's sports at federally funded educational institutions. This directive mandates that sports teams designated for women or girls must be exclusively composed of individuals assigned female at birth. Background and context. The participation of transgender athletes in sports has been a contentious issue in the United States. Advocates for transgender rights argue that individuals should compete in sports teams that align with their gender identity, emphasizing inclusivity and equal rights. Opponents, however, contend that transgender women may possess physiological advantages over cisgender women, potentially compromising fairness in women's sports. Prior to this executive order, several states had enacted laws restricting transgender athletes' participation in school sports. These state-level actions created a patchwork of regulations, leading to calls for a consistent federal policy. Provisions of the executive order. The executive order stipulates that educational institutions receiving federal funding must ensure that women's sports teams are exclusively for individuals assigned female at birth. Noncompliance could result in the withdrawal of federal funds. The order also directs the Department of Education to issue guidelines to assist schools in implementing this policy and mandates periodic reviews to ensure adherence. Rationale behind the order. In signing the order, President Trump stated, "This action is about
competitions designed for women." Last year, a male cyclist posing as a woman competed in the 800-mile Arizona Trail Race, a very big deal in cycling, and obliterated the women's course record by nearly 5.5 hours. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, huh? 5.5 hours. So, but you have to hear the weightlifting records. You think that's bad. The weightlifting's worse. In 2023, a man in women's powerlifting broke 2 world records and outlifted his closest female opponent in one event by 440 pounds. And they continue to defend themselves, Mr. Congressman. You know that, right? They continue to defend themselves. We hope they continue onward because I don't think we can lose a race. This was one of the big reasons that we all won, and it's one of the big reasons that we had a record, a landslide like they haven't seen before, very often anyway. And who could forget last year's Paris Olympics where a male boxer stole the women's gold medal after brutalizing his female opponent so viciously that she had to forfeit just after 46 seconds, and she was a championship fighter. And actually they had 2 women or 2 people that transitioned, and both of them won gold medals, and they won them very convincingly. But all of that ends today because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. Should have been done long ago, actually. Thank you. Thank you very much. With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. So this will effectively end the attack on female athletes at public K-12 schools and virtually all U.S. colleges and universities. I don't think we've missed anything, but if we do, we'll make it up very quickly with an order, and I don't think we will at all. Before we go on, I want to thank so many...
Protecting the integrity of women's sports. It's crucial that we ensure a level playing field for female athletes. Supporters of the order argue that it safeguards fair competition in women's sports. They assert that transgender women, having undergone male puberty, may retain advantages in strength and endurance, which could disadvantage cisgender female athletes. Criticism and opposition. The executive order has faced significant criticism from LGBTQ+ advocacy groups, civil rights organizations, and some lawmakers. Critics argue that the policy discriminates against transgender individuals and violates their rights. The Human Rights Campaign condemned the order, stating, "This executive action is a direct attack on transgender youth, denying them the opportunity to participate fully in school activities." Legal experts have also raised concerns about potential violations of Title IX, a federal law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in educational programs and activities. They argue that excluding transgender athletes could be interpreted as a form of sex discrimination. Potential legal challenges. Given the contentious nature of the order, legal challenges are anticipated. Opponents may argue that the policy violates constitutional protections under the Equal Protection Clause and contravenes Title IX provisions. Previous court cases have yielded mixed outcomes regarding transgender athletes' participation in sports, indicating that the legal landscape remains unsettled.
People that have worked so hard in the political establishment, and they're before me largely, and I think I'm going to miss a few. It always happens when you do this, but it's just one of those things. But we have many senators here, many governors here, many state attorneys generals here. They're all over the place, actually, I see. Some of them went after me, but they failed. And they're really friends, and they're friends of women's sports, that I can tell you. So Senator Marsha Blackburn, where's Marsha? Hi. Senator Katie Britt. Thank you, Katie. Mike Lee, where's Mike? Mike? I love his new haircut. I love that haircut, Mike. He just said the hell with it, right? I think you look great. Senator Cynthia Loomis. Cynthia, where are you? Cynthia, hi, Cynthia. Doing a good job. And Roger Marshall. Thank you, Roger. Great. Mark Wayne Mullen, Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma. I don't know what it is, Oklahoma. I went 77 out of 77 counties. It's never been done. Second was Ronald Reagan, 56, right? Yeah. And Tommy Tuberville, a great coach. You know, his quarterback was named Mahomes. He was a great college coach. And I said, how good was he? He said, you don't want to know how good. He made me into a great coach. He's pretty good quarterback, right? Yeah, he was very good. He's a good guy, too. Also, governors, we have Governor Glenn Youngkin, Virginia. Thank you, Glenn. Good job. Bill Lee of Tennessee. Bill, thank you. Jeff Landry, Louisiana. Thank you, Jeff. Kim Reynolds of Iowa. Thank you. We're trying to move, you know, education back to the states. You do know that. We're making a big move, and we're counting on Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon. And sitting next to you is the new Star is Born. Caroline, congratulations. You've done great. New Star. Star is Born. Patrick Morrissey. Patrick, congratulations. Great race. A great friend of mine, and he's really helped us at the border, done a great job, of Texas, Greg Abbott. Thank you, Greg. Jim Pillen, where are you? Jim, very good. Very good. Are you feeling good? He had a bad fall. You doing all right, huh? Good. You look great. Brad Little. Brad, thank you, Brad. Good job. Good job. Do you like education going back to your state? You'll make it top, right? You know, just so people understand, in the education world, we're ranked very, very poorly. We're 38, 39, and 40 out of 40 countries.
Executive order is expected to prompt further litigation, potentially reaching higher courts for resolution. Impact on educational institutions. Schools and colleges receiving federal funding will need to review and potentially revise their athletic policies to comply with the executive order. This may involve reassessing team compositions, updating eligibility criteria, and providing training to staff and students. Institutions that fail to comply risk losing federal funding, which could significantly impact their operations. However, compliance may also lead to internal conflicts and challenges as schools navigate the complex interplay between federal mandates and the rights of transgender students. Broader societal implications. The executive order has intensified the national debate over transgender rights and the balance between inclusivity and fairness in sports. It highlights the ongoing tensions between federal and state policies, as well as differing public opinions on the issue. The policy may also influence public perceptions of transgender individuals, potentially affecting their acceptance and inclusion in various aspects of society beyond sports. Conclusion. President Trump's executive order banning transgender athletes from competing in women's sports represents a significant policy shift with far-reaching implications. As the nation grapples with this complex issue, the balance between ensuring fair competition and upholding the rights of transgender individuals remains a focal point of discussion and potential legal scrutiny.
We're at the bottom of the pack almost always, or very close to it. That just came out. We're 40 out of 40. And if we move it back to the states, I will guarantee you that if you take Idaho, you take Iowa, you take almost any of the states that I'm looking at right now, they'll be as good as Norway. You have Sweden, you have Denmark, I must say you have China that's very high in the pack, which is no longer, we can say it has to be a small area. China is very big, but they do a very good job. But we'll have at least 35 of our states that will be as good or better than any of those countries, and we have to get it done. Attorney General Steve Marshall. Steve, thank you very much. Steve, wherever you may be. General Tim Griffin. Thank you. Thank you. A person who was so wonderful. Brenna Bird, where are you? Brenna Bird. Thank you. She supported me before people wanted to support me, right, Brenna? Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciated it. Andrew Bailey, great job. Where's Andrew? Great. Stand up, Andrew. One of the great attorney generals. Thank you very much. One of the greats, really. And Jason Miyares. Thanks, Jason. And now we get back to our members of Congress, and we'll go quickly, but it's a great group of people. Steve Scalise is right in front here. What a brave guy Steve is. Steve went through a lot, and he proved one thing to me, only one thing, that his wife loved him. His wife loves him because I went to the hospital that night, and he was not given even a shot, right, Mike? And I was with him, and I was with his wife, and she was devastated. She was really devastated. And I've been to, similar situations, not quite as bad, but the wives were not so devastated. And I can tell you that great wife of yours loves you. So anyway, and what you've done is incredible. The way you've come back, it's you look better now than you did before it happened. But nobody wants to go through that. Yeah, it's amazing. Tom Emmer doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Tom. Great job. Lisa McLean. Lisa? Hi, Lisa. Hi. Good job. Virginia Fox. Hi, Virginia. Tim Wahlberg, Michigan. Tim, great. Jason Smith, great man on taxes. Great man on how are the taxes doing? Okay? We're going to get good things passed, I hope, right? Juan Ciscomaris. Arizona. Where are you, Juan? Hello, Juan. Stand up, Juan. You look so good. You always look good. Kevin Kiley. Kevin, wherever you may be. What happened? How come he had no applause? Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert. Very much a leader in this. Thank you, Lauren. Kat